Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast but didn't know where to start? Well, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor is your one-stop shop for podcasting. They have tools that you can edit, add music, all right from your phone or your computer. They'll even distribute your podcast so that it can be heard everywhere like Spotify, Apple, and even on Google. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Good morning, everybody. This is morning coffee.
It's time to pour it, stir it up, and serve it up. This is the Morning Coffee Podcast Show, your unofficial wake-up call. Here to help you live your best life and revolutionize your relationships, faith, inspiration, and love. Start your day the right way with Morning Coffee. Here's your host, Tanisha R. Atkins.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Coffee Live Show. I'm the host, Tanisha R. Atkins, back with another great episode for you this morning. Well, you know that we are still in season 4, where our topic and theme this season is we're all in this together. Family, friends, church community, sports, whatever organization that you're a part of, even if it's at work. We're all in this together. So we've been working on doing some transformation of our mindsets about that and understanding that the importance of being one with whatever team that you're a part of. This week we've been doing something a little different because my birthday, we're getting closer. Today is Wednesday. My birthday is Saturday. So I've been sharing with you all week long some different nuggets that I have picked up throughout my life to help better myself, because part of our mission here is to help you to live your best life and to revolutionize your relationships. So the other day we talked about think about what you're thinking about. Yesterday we talked about the importance of treating people right. And today I want to share a nugget with you that I actually picked up from my grandmother. This is a few little tips that my grandmother taught me growing up. So me and my grandmother were like the closest ever. Like when she passed away, it was very hard on me. I know a lot of people lose their grandmothers and, it's hard on them. But for me, that was like losing my mom. But it took me a long time to really, make peace with the fact, okay, she's gone. And it hit me hard. And the reason why it hit me hard is because growing up, I spent a significant amount of time with her, just talking to her and just getting a lot of her wisdom on things. Like a lot of people growing up really thought that she was kind of mean. And what I've learned about her was that she wasn't mean, but she meant what she said and she said what she meant. And a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people can't handle you when you're your true self, because we have this thing that we kind of like to sugarcoat things for people. And my grandmother wasn't that type of person. Could it come off harsh sometimes? Well, sometimes. But when you really got to know her, at her core, she was a very loving person. She loved people. She loved God, but she didn't play no games. That pretty much sums her up. But a few things that she taught me that has always stuck with me and that I will always carry with me throughout my life. Number one, she used to always say, be a woman of your word. Be a woman of your word. When you tell people that you're going to do something, make sure that you follow up and either do it or communicate that you can't do it anymore. And why was that important? Because she said that, she always told me, your word is your bond. Your word is your bond. People may not even know you, but the fact that they can depend on when you say you're going to do something, you do it. When you say you're going to be somewhere, you're there. Your word is your bond. And she always used to say that all the time. Sometimes like when she passed away, she was living in Louisiana. And sometimes, I was here in Texas and I would tell her, I have to call you back. I'm at work or something. And like when I would get off work and I didn't call her that night, and I'll talk to her like a couple of days later, and she would say, you told me, that you were going to call me back. And your word is your bond. That's just how she was. And that made me say, you know what, I should have called her back that night, or I should have called her back the next day to say, I did not get a chance to call you back. Because she said people, it's like she held me at my word. And that principle that I adapted, I brought that principle over with me into business. So when I do business affairs with people, whether it's a partnership or my clients that I serve, when I tell my clients that I'm going to show up at a certain time, I try my best to beat them there, because I always hear my grandmother in the back of my head saying, hey, your word is your bond. You told these people you were going to deliver. You need to show up and come through. Because the thing is, like, when people say your name, I like to look at, like, we are a brand. Just like Kellogg's. Kellogg's is a cereal, right? But Kellogg's is a brand. Kellogg's is a full brand out there. So a lot of times when you think about Kellogg's, you think about cereal. That's the first thing I think about, cereal. Because that's what their brand is known for. So just like that, we are a brand also. So when people say our name, what's the first thing that they think about? What do you want them to think about? Kellogg's has paid a lot of money to brand their stuff and do commercials and, making sure that we know that they sell cereal. So how are we branding ourselves? How are we acting with people? Are we out here lying to people? Are we just around here telling people, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then when they call us, call me if you need something. Then when they call you, you don't show up, you don't answer the phone, and you don't respond. So what you have just done was told people that when people mention your name, liar, don't come through, don't follow through, not dependable. And so that's important. It is for me, and it should be for you. Because when people say your name, you want your name to be attached and associated with the greatness. You want them to say, yes, I will hire him, or I will hire her, because she always does what she says she's going to do. She's always on time for work. When she's here, she's working. I don't have issues with her. We have to care about not what people think about us, but we should care about how we're coming off to people. We should care, because our goal is to win more people for Christ, and we should care. We should, again, be the example. When Jesus walked around, I think about when the people were hungry, with the 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread. Jesus was responsible. We're going to feed them. We're going to feed these people. Now, he told these people that. What would these people have thought of him if he didn't feed them? If he didn't feed them, they would have said he's a liar. But no, y'all know the story, what happened. He was able to take the food, bless the food, and the food multiplied, and it was enough to feed them, because that was important, Jesus' reputation. And I think about often too, a lot of times when people were confronting Jesus, asking him different things about the law, the disciples are breaking the law. Jesus could have went off on them and said, he really could have told them, how about y'all mind y'all own business? Even though in a way he kind of said, worry about what y'all got going on. But I love the fact that he just didn't go off on them, because his character was on the line. How can he walk around and say he's the Son of God, he's the Messiah, and have a bad attitude with people, or lying, if he's going around him and the disciples stealing from people? How would people perceive him? And see, we don't like to think about these things and have these conversations. But as Christians, a lot of when I ask people, when I take a poll on social media, a lot of times, and I ask people, when you hear the word Christian, what do you think of? And one of the first things they say is hypocrite, liars. And I think that the Christian community has done a poor job of representing Christ, some of us. I really do think that. That's my opinion. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but we just have some ways that we're out here lying and stealing just like the world. But back to our subject, because I don't want to get too far off, but be a person of your word. Your word is your bond. And the second part of that she taught me was, when you do tell people, when people ask you to do something, if you know you don't want to do it, it's best to tell them no. She used to always tell me, if it's not in your heart, don't do it. And I agree with that, because when it's not in your heart, you will do it any kind of way. And a lot of times she would ask us to like fix her water. She used to love water with ice in it. And she had to have a particular cup and everything like that. And some people might say, well, God, that was kind of picky. But that's how she was. So her thing was, if I ask you to fix me some water, you know I like this particular cup, you know I like it this way. If you give it to her in some plastic cup, she's going to feel like you really didn't want to do it. And that may sound silly, but that was a principle there. Because she like, first of all, I asked you to fix me some water. You did it any kind of way, because had you put some thought into it, then you would know, hey, I don't like this kind of cup. So that was a lesson for me. And so whenever I ask people to do something for me, I'll tell them, hey, if you don't want to do it, tell me no. Because if it's not in your heart, you're going to do it any kind of way. You're not going to put no thought into, I'm doing this for her. This is how she likes her things when she's working. It's important that we spend time and train the people that are under us and things like that of how to serve us as well. You know, just a little small business nugget. But be a person of your word, have integrity, and if it's not in your heart, be bold enough to tell people when they're asking you something, I don't think that I can accommodate you. I'm not going to be able to help you because at this time, this doesn't work for me. We have to be honest with things like that. But that's all I got for you for today's nugget. So we'll come back tomorrow, and I'll think of a nugget that I picked up from my grandfather. I have a nugget I can tell you that I picked up from him, and we'll talk about that tomorrow because I know he's listening. But I'll reflect back on some nuggets that I learned from him as well, because I was a person I'm always watching. Even though my grandfather was quiet for the most part when I was growing up, you know, there were things that I still learned from him. So I'm sure he's going to be excited to hear that episode tomorrow. So that's all I have for you today. We're getting close to my birthday. 2 or 3 more days left. But y'all have a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow with another nugget.
Every day, I wake up with purpose, starting my day with faith and inspiration. Wouldn't have it no other way. Live, laugh, love. Let's make the world better. Give somebody a hug. Let's bring the world back together. With morning coffee, let's have morning coffee. Morning coffee. Start your day with faith, inspiration, and love. Start your day with faith, inspiration, and love.